Okay guys, I'm going to slap you today and show you some new things about delays I've been playing with lately. Cole and I have been experimenting with slaps on slaps, and it's been really cool, and we've come up with some stuff I want to share with you. Now, we call it a slap delay. It started during the tape days, and all studios had two tape machines. They had the 2-inch tape machine, or the multi-track tape. Sometimes they were 1 inch, and then they always had another machine, the 2-track machine, that everything was printed onto, and that's what was sent to mastering. Now, the 2-track machines at one point were 1/4 inch, and then they became 1/2 inch tape. What we used to do back in the day is we would take a 20-foot piece, 30-foot piece, any amount you wanted, the shorter the better, and we'd splice it together and make an endless loop. Now, what we would do is we'd take this endless loop, we'd thread the tape machine, we'd set a mic stand over here, run it to the outside, the loop, come back around behind the tape machine or in front of the tape machine, whatever you want to do, and then around behind this mic stand over here, and then back through the electronics and the heads on the tape machine. So we've got an endless loop going around 2 mic stands and through the tape machine. And then there's always a mechanism on the tape machine that would turn it off when the tape ran out. And what you'd have to do is you'd have to tape that in place so the tape machine would keep running. Now, what you would do, the tape machine has 2 heads, 3 heads actually. It had an erase head, and then it had a playback head, and we call it repro head, and it has a sync head. And the sync head is what did the recording. The playback head just played back. Now, the gap between the record head and the playback head is the amount of delay you're going to get. So what you do is you feed the signal that you want to put a slap on. The amount of delay depends on the speed of the tape and the headspace between the gap between the headspace, physical gap. Usually it's about this big. And the slap would end up being anywhere from 70 to 120 milliseconds, depending on all these things. And you would take the output of the tape machine, and you would bring that back into a channel on the board, stereo channel. And then you would take the signal that you wanted to have the slap on, usually a vocal, and you would send that to the tape machine. So are you with me now? We've got signal coming into this endless loop of tape. The gap between the record head and the playback head becomes a delay, because we're monitoring the delay, the repro head, the playback head. And nowadays we just pull up a plug-in or a delay, and so to me, everybody has a different time for slap. Slaps to me are somewhere between 75, 60 milliseconds and maybe 120, 125. Some numbers work. Now, you find slaps just by experimenting. You don't want the slap to be an increment. Like, you don't want it to be a 32nd. You don't want it to be a 64th, because then it's not a slap. It becomes on a beat, and it doesn't give you what you're trying to get. So this is kind of like a classic slap. I've got 67 on one side and 79 on the other.
You changed my mind.
That's dry. Here's with the slap.
You changed my mind this time around. Open my eyes to your world. If I got to get myself in.
So I'm gonna take it off while it's going. You'll see what it tends to do.
You changed my mind this time around. Open my eyes.
Okay, your basic, kind of boring slap. Now, let's nuke that one. Now, I experimented with Manny's plug-in, and I'll leave this up for a second so you can copy my settings. I really like this slap, so let's check this out. Without it.
You changed my mind this.
With it.
You changed my mind this time around. Open my eyes to your world. If I got to get myself in line.
Okay, what is my delay here? My delay looks like 120. And then now with this plugin, I can add a little bit of reverb, a little distortion, a doubler effect, a pitch type thing, and a little bit of phase. Now, Cole actually stumbled on this. I like I like this plug-in here as a delay. What I've done is I put this up in multi-mono, so now I've got 2 mono versions I can play with. Now you can use, if you don't have Pro Tools, you can just use 2 different auxiliary tracks. So now when this plugin comes up, I can have 1 setting for the left and 1 setting for the right. Now, this particular plugin doesn't give you actual numbers, but you can tell. Watch this knob here. I'm using a little bit of modulation. This would be more like a feedback. I'm not using any of the original signal. Now this is what I've got on the other side. So I've got more of an echo, less of a doubler, a lot less sustain, more saturation, and a shorter delay. So let's check this out by itself.
You changed my mind this time around. Open my eyes to your world. If I got to get myself in line.
Okay. Now, when you use both of them, something really cool happens. Mathematically, I'm not quite sure what. I just know I like it. Watch this. So what we've got is these 2 plugins right here. This is just the Manny plugin and this one. But now you can do it with any 2 plugins, but I just happen to like these.
You changed my mind this time around. Open my eyes to your world. If I got to get
Okay, now let's put it back where we'd use it. That's a little hot. Okay, here's with it.
You changed my mind this time around. Open my eyes to your world. If I got to get myself in line.
Hey, come on, guys. That's kind of cool. I like that. Now, Manny's plugin saves me from loading up 5 more plugins, but you can see that the combination of 2 different slaps is something that'd be kind of hard to do with a tape machine and mic stands, and then you'd have to use all these extra things. Check it out. Experiment. Try different things, and I'm telling you, when you put this in the mix, it just grows. And now you could use this for guitars, you could use this for synths, keyboards, all kinds of stuff. Let me know what you come up with, all right? See you guys.